Thank you everyone for joining this call tonight. This is a call to action for all of us, right, to speak against cyberbullying. I'll be taking off my face in a couple of minutes. This is just to, give a face to the conversation we are going to have tonight, the awareness we are going to have tonight, right? We've seen cases where we hear people's voice in the field where I belong to. A lot of things are happening. We hear their voices, but by the time we are done with analysis, you get to know that the voice you've heard is not the voice of someone, right? It's probably another person trying to impersonate, and we know a lot of this happens. So I just want to, put a face to the voice, right? So as we go on with the awareness, we have a face to that voice, right? So give me a minute. Let me bring up my slide, and then we kick in right into tonight's topic. Very, very important topic in a time like this. Give me a minute while I bring up my presentation slide. All right. Good evening, everyone, once more. Please confirm you can see my slide. If you can see my slide, give me a thumbs up. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. I can see the great hands. Right. So I welcome us once more to tonight's awareness on guarding against cyberbullying. How parents can protect the boy child online. And this is a very, very good initiative and a very good push from New G's. I don't think they know the extent to what they are currently pushing out. In the field, in the space where I belong as a cybersecurity professional, we usually all over the world we use October as the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, where every government parastatals, every individual, every agency, every country, every nation celebrate October as National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So that is to tell you the weight of cybersecurity, right? Based on the growth and then based on the usage of technology. We all use mobile devices. We have our mobile phones, we have our laptops, and if you really want to sell, you want to, as a business owner also, you have to be in the cyberspace, right? So we bring out October as a month to carry out that celebration. Now, New G's is going beyond selling, right? Going beyond products and then celebrating men. I've also seen, some people come to my DM and they tell me that, is it that you're not thinking about the ladies? No, we're also thinking about the ladies. But this month is focused on men because there's a push, right? Which New G's has been pushing for a while now, and then the push is, talking about men's health from from the introduction we had tonight, right? So today we'll be focusing on this very, very important topic, which is guarding against cyberbullying, how parents can protect the boy child online. And I can tell you for free that this conversation is not only for parents, also for prospective or people that are going to become parents at a later time. I am not married also, and I'm also going to learn from what I'm going to dish out tonight. And then I will also want my child to be safeguarded against cyberbullying. We've seen cases, we've seen videos. One time, I think early this year or mid this year, we saw a lot of videos coming out. We saw a lot of people talking about bullying in schools, where boarding schools, day schools, we see where kids were beating themselves up, right? But here we want to focus on the cyberspace because that is where the actual war is right now, right? Gone are those days when countries want to fight. Every country has to go take their tanks, take their nuclear weapons and the likes. But now you see countries fighting with the cyberspace, right? From another country, they can hack into another country's infrastructure and then destroy or maybe destroy their power infrastructure or their water system for countries that sit heavily on technology, right? And that is to tell us that we are also in the period where everything is in the cyberspace, where the internet is widely used, and it is giving us the urge, giving us the charge, the push, right, to be able to also understand how these things are used, and then how we can guard our boy child against cyber bullying, right? So tonight, our point of discussion, we focus on what cyberbullying is, right? And then what cyberbullying is not. Because I've seen cases where something happened online and then somebody will tell you, you are bullying me. No, the person may not be bullying you. So we'll see what cyberbullying is, we'll see what cyberbullying is not. And then we'll see the reason why we are focusing on boys at this particular point in time. We see the signs for cyberbullying, we see parents' role in cyberbullying, we see practical tips for preventing cyberbullying, and then we take our questions if we have uh, any. Right. This is also a push to nudge anyone that you know is supposed to gain from this awareness, right? Let them know we have started the awareness. So, what is cyberbullying? Let us define cyberbullying, what cyberbullying is, and what cyberbullying is not. Right. For my screen, cyberbullying is the use of digital platforms like social media, messaging apps, gaming platforms, or other online spaces to harm. Now, when we say cyber, we are talking about the internet and its constituents. The internet and its constituents in the sense that the data you buy, the mobile phone you use to connect to people, right? The laptop you use to connect to people, the PDAs, the personal devices, the tabs that are used to connect to people, those platforms also that are used to connect to people or you use to manage your business, that is the cyberspace. I say those are the constituents of the cyberspace. So cyberbullying in itself is usage of those digital platforms, right? Like the social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the likes, right? Messaging apps, gaming platforms, or other spaces to harm. I know somebody may be asking that gaming platform, what do you mean by gaming platform? You would have seen some videos where two people, when you play, there are games like Call of Duty, COD, right? You see a lot of guys play COD, and then you see they are able to converse during the course of gaming. They are able to, send voice notes or send text message, right? It is possible that the usage of that platform, that gaming platform, can also somebody can be bullied using that gaming platform or any online spaces, right? So to harm them, intimidate or harass someone, it involves deliberate and repeated action. I want us to pay attention to the keywords: deliberate and repeated. Deliberate and repeated, that is the keyword. So it's deliberate and repeated action that cause emotional, psychological, or social distress to the victim. And then we have some common forms of cyberbullying, which includes harassment. Now, harassment is sending repeated again. That's the keyword. It's sending repeated, hurtful, or threatening message to someone. When someone is getting repeated or hurtful message, we see some of these Korean movies. For those that watch Korean movies, sometimes I try to watch them, and then you see that most times when they go to school, you see cases of bullying, cyberbullying, where someone receives, repeated hurtful, threatening messages, right? That is harassment. There's a repetition of those hurtful and threatening messages. And then we have what we call defamation. That is spreading false information about someone to damage their reputation. And we'll see a lot of that happening online. And I can even tell you for free, this is something most of us are guilty of. I remember back then when I was in school, right? Sometimes we thought it was a joke. It is later we get to know that what we are doing is defamation, where we type out something about someone that is actually not true, and then we are defaming that person. We are changing the view of that person, right? And then we have doxing. Doxing is publishing private or sensitive information about someone without their consent. And we see this play a lot in the industry, especially in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, where you see someone, come up with another person's sensitive information, maybe sensitive information regarding to their body, or sensitive information regarding to maybe their health information, right? Health information that should not go out. That is doxing. And then we have impersonation, right? Impersonation is pretending to be someone else online to damage their reputation or relationship. That's another form of cyberbullying, right? And then we have exclusion. I remember also back then in school that I am guilty of this, and some of my friends are also guilty of it back then in school. Right, when we were still ignorant, we will have a group, and then we decide to say we are excluding this person from this group because probably this person cannot really contribute to what we want to do, or this person, we do not just want this person to be part of this project. That is exclusion. That is deliberately leaving someone out of an online group or activity. Or you see where someone belongs to a platform, right? And then maybe because the person do not really belong to the caliber of the people on that platform, when the person contributes, there's no reply to what that person has contributed. That's exclusion. It's also another form of cyberbullying. And then we have cyber stalking. This is also rampant, right? Persistent and unwanted online attention, often accompanied by threats. And then you see a lot of people joke out with stuff like this. You see it play out online. Somebody come on Instagram to state that this person has been asking me out for so and so years. This person has been, sometimes it's cyber stalking, and we need to pay attention to some of these things, right? So these are some common forms of cyberbullying. And then we have, and then what we've seen what cyberbullying is all about, which is the usage of digital platforms like social media and likes to harass someone, intimidate, or to harm someone online, right? So what is not cyberbullying? Because sometimes people miss out on what cyberbullying is and what cyberbullying is not. So what is not cyberbullying, right? Disagreements or argument is not cyberbullying. You can have your own opinion. I can have my own opinion. Your kids, your boy child can have his own opinion. His friends can have their own opinion. So the disagreements, the arguments, right, from both parties is not cyberbullying, right? So online debates, differences in opinion, religious opinion, uh, uh, political opinion are not cyberbullying, right? Unless if they cross into personal attacks or harassment, that is when it becomes cyberbullying. Constructive criticism also is not cyberbullying. When someone offers feedback in a respectful and professional manner, in a good manner, that is not cyberbullying. A single isolated incident is also not cyberbullying, because if we go back to the definition of cyberbullying, we mentioned that it is a deliberate and repeated action. So a single incident cannot be categorized as cyberbullying, right? Except it is repetitive. It occurs over time. That is when it becomes cyber bullying, right? Also, accidental harm, miscommunication or unintentional actions that offend someone online is also not cyberbullying. Sometimes it can be accidental, right? Blocking or friending is also not cyberbullying, right? Someone can decide to say, you know what, I do not want to have a conversation with this person anymore. I'm blocking this person, or I'm unfriending this person from the social media platform, or in real life, I do not want to talk to you. That's not cyber bullying. So we have an understanding of what cyberbullying is and what it is not. And then the charge to us, right? Something happened, I think earlier this year or late last year, where a boy in America, right, was bullied online. A young boy, a very young boy, was bullied online, and then the person who bullied him, the threat actor, right, was extorting that boy, telling him to bring money for this because he has that boy's sensitive tape with him. So some of these kids, they are naive, and then they can release some their sensitive tape to someone online. And then in the course of this, the boy at some point said he could not give him money anymore. He has stolen money, stole money from his mom, stole money from his parents. And then he said, at this point, I cannot give you anything again. And then the guy mentioned that you should go and kill yourself if you know you cannot give me money. And that young boy, went to the town square and then shot himself in the head, took his dad's revolver, shot himself in the head. Understand? So that's why we are talking about, we are having this topic at this particular time. Right, so we have an understanding of what cyberbullying is and what cyberbullying is not. Now, why are we focusing on the boys? It is very, very important at this point, beyond the fact that it is men's month talking about men's health, mental health, right, and other health, right? But the focus is on boys because, I was doing an analysis at some point. I was also going to carry out a webinar like this, and I saw that uh boys that grow to men face sextortion more than women. You think it is women that face sextortion, but men face sextortion. So the focus is on boys because looking at the victimization rates based on analysis and presentation by ResearchGate, we can see the pictorial evidence, right? In terms of eating and flogging, right? Rates of bullying. This is bullying in general, right? In terms of eating and flogging, you can see that the boys is in blue, the girls are in red. The boys had the highest score. In terms of kicking, in terms of extortion, cyber extortion, you can see that the boys face more extortion than the ladies. In terms of injuries, these injuries can be both physical and mental injuries, right? In terms of threatening, you can also see 80% of boys face threatening more than a percentage we have for girls. But in rumor spreading, the ladies. So pardon me in saying that. In slandering also, but in name calling, in intimidation, boys face more than the ladies face, right? So looking at victimization rate, this is also, steering us towards talking about this at this particular time within this month, that we are looking at men's health, right? And then what are the signs of cyberbullying? Now, as a parent, how do you ensure, how do you know that your kid is being bullied, right? How do you know that your kid using the cyberspace, how do you have an understanding that they are being bullied? So these are key indicators that you can watch out for. There are more, but these are very, very key indicators that you need to watch out for. Number one, behavioral changes. You will see that the boy is withdrawing from social activities or friends, right? Maybe somebody that is very, very jovial, that is playful, right? And then you see that that person is withdrawn from social activities or friends, or you see that when the person uses mobile devices, right? When the person is more on his mobile device, by the time the person is dropping, maybe by the time the boy is dropping the mobile device, see that there's a change in his mood. There's a noticeable mood swing. There's irritability or signs of anxiety, right? And then there's increased sadness or emotional outburst. So those behavioral change can also give you their key indicators, right, that you need to watch out for as a parent or as a guardian or as someone that is going to be a parent. Also, avoidance of digital devices. The age we are now, we cannot say these kids, these boys, we cannot say they should not use digital devices, right? In as much as we are still going to control them. But the avoidance of the usage of digital devices, the hesitation, right? Or being unwilling to use mobile phones, use computer, use tablets, right? Avoid some specific apps or games that that they usually play, or websites that that they usually attend. You also need to pay attention to that. That's also a key indicator. Also, academic impact. Sudden drop in grades or performance, or loss of interest in school or extracurricular activity. I heard a bell now. Let me see. Okay, so that's a contribution. I'll read out the contributions when we are. But we can also have conversations going on in the chat box, right? So academic impact, someone that that is doing well before academically, and then there are sudden drops in grades or performance, or loss of interest in school or extracurricular activities. That is also a key indicator, right? It's also another sign of bullying. And secretive online behaviors. When you get close to the boy, you see him quickly closing tabs or switching screens when approached, avoiding discussions about online interaction when you want to have a discussion with him, and then he's trying to avoid discussions about online interaction. So these are key indicators that we need to watch out for, right? As parents, as guidance, that's is a sign of cyberbullying. Then what is parents' role? What are the parents' role in cyberbullying? When we say parents, we're also talking about guidance also, right? Number one, awareness. Awareness, very key. Now, we cannot choose to neglect the understanding of the usage of these digital platforms. We should not do that as parents. You hear some parents that they will tell you, oh, I cannot use this application, I cannot use this mobile device, I cannot use this, I am too old for that. No, we need to be aware. We need to understand the usage of this platform, right? We need to understand the usage of the platforms, the conversations that they have online, and the potential risks. That is how we will be able to guide these boys, right? Also, open communication. We need to be able to foster trust so that boys feel safe to talk, because in most families you will see preference are given to the ladies, because they tend to call them the weaker vessel. Sorry for using that word, right? And then we say, oh, the boys, they are the stronger one, they can take care of themselves. No, we need to foster trust so that boys can feel safe to talk whenever there are issues, right? And then there needs to be monitoring and supervision. Usage of parental controls, right, should be used. On my router, there are controls on the router I use where you can restrict the website that you want your kids to go. On your platform, your DSTV, your other digital platform, there is a way you can monitor and supervise the usage of the mobile device and the usage of the platform that these boys have access to. And then setting boundaries. You need to also limit screen time and encourage offline activities. Build relationship with these boys, right? Reduce their screen time so that they have the ability, the attitude to also relate with you when there are issues. And then you build resilience in boys. Build resilience, very, very important. Encourage self-esteem and emotional intelligence. Also promote activities that will build confidence and teamwork. If you are a mother, if you're a father, that you have a family of more boys, ensure that there's collaboration between them, there's teamwork, so that when there are issues, they can relate to themselves. If they are friends, also, you know that, oh, he has a particular friend that he goes out with, also ensure that you build confidence in them, and then there's teamwork, right? And then you teach them problem solving and stress management skills. Also, these are the roles of parents in cyber bullying. And then there are some practical tips for prevention. Some practical tips for prevention that can be utilized, right? That can be used to prevent cyberbullying, to prevent our boys from being bullied in the cyberspace. Number one, education. We need to teach our boys to recognize and report bullying. Very, very important. We need to teach our boys to recognize and report bullying. And that is part of what we are doing, right? I expect that we should have a lot of parents on this call, right? So that by the time you see those key indicators, you see your boy having emotional changes, right? And then you have an understanding of this awareness, you have an understanding of what you have talked about, and then you also go out to get more knowledge. You'll be able to educate your boys, you'll be able to sit them down, because some people do not know. I can tell you for free, some boys do not know that they are being bullied. They accept some of those things, and it is very, very, very bad. So we need to also teach them to recognize and report bullying as soon as it starts, right? Also, digital etiquette. We need to encourage respect online interactions, right? We need to encourage respect online interactions, in as much as we want to safeguard our children from being bullied. We also need to educate our children. We need to also encourage our children to do what? To respect, to have respectful online interactions, right? And then should not bully another person's kid, right? Also, we need to use support networks, connect with schools and communities for collective effort. Part of what New G's is doing, right, is a support network. You can communicate with New G even at a later time, right? Right, even at a later time after this awareness, you can communicate with New G, right, and then get more understanding on these subjects, get more understanding on this topic. Collaborate also with schools as parents. When we go for PTA meetings and other relevant meetings, let us raise things like this, let us talk about things like this, so that we have collaborative efforts, and then we are able to manage this stuff. And then cybersecurity tools, very, very important. And when I say cybersecurity tools, I'm not talking about you getting a robust tool. No, utilize anti-bullying apps and software. The anti-bullying apps, there are softwares also that can monitor the usage of the online platforms that your kids use. I have some of those softwares. You can use some of the softwares you have in hand, your routers, right? Parental controls also that we have on some of the digital platforms that they have access to, right? These are practical tips for prevention. Part of the tools that can be used also, social media reporting features. For instance, on Instagram, you can make your reports. If your boy is being bullied, you can report the account, right? You can state why you are reporting this person. Facebook, TikTok, they have inbuilt reporting mechanism for reporting cyberbullying incidents, right? And then as parents also, as part of the practical tips, what can you do if your son is being bullied? You are not going to go there to start fighting the person or start cursing the person online. No, number one, stay calm. Stay calm as a mother, as a father, as a guardian, as a brother, as a sister to the younger ones, to the boys, to the men. Stay calm. Offer reassurance and emotional support to them whenever they are being bullied in the cyberspace. And then document evidence, save those messages, those screenshots of them being bullied. Right, right. An act just came out this 2024, an amended act of 2015, the cyber security cyber. It's an act for the cyberspace, the usage of the cyberspace, right? And then it kicks against cyberbullying. So you need those documentary evidence, save them, right? Report, notify schools, notify law enforcement, notify the social media platforms also, right? And then seek help, engage counselors or support groups if needed, right? To ensure that those kind of situations are managed, right? And then in conclusion, I would like to leave us with a quote by Ana Maria Chavez that says, unless and until our society recognizes cyberbullying for what it is, the suffering of thousands of silent victims will continue. Right. So this is putting us, this is a charge for all of us to recognize cyberbullying. The truth of it is, subconsciously we do them sometimes, but if you have this awareness, right, you have this safeguard, you are cyber smart, you are cyber aware, and then you understand what cyberbullying is, you will also be able, right, as a parent, as a guardian, as a person, you'll be able to manage your situation, you'll be able to not to bully anyone in the cyberspace, because there's a thin line between joking with someone and bullying someone also, right? So our society needs to recognize what cyberbullying is, and that is what New G's is also currently doing, right? Very, very important. Cyberbullying affects boys uniquely, and then it's able to, mess with their mental health. It's able to, mess with their physical health also. Some of them go as much as, killing themselves, right? So open communication, awareness, presentation, prevention will help us as society, will help us as community, and it will help us in the world at large. Right. Thank you for joining this awareness and presentation. If you have questions, now we will take the questions. If you have questions, we will take your questions. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat box, or you can, give us raise your hands, and then we'll be able to call you to answer your question. I leave the floor to ID.
Okay, thank you so much for this. Funny enough, I have a question. So please just answer my question. It's in the chat box while I wait on you to answer.
Okay. The question is, if someone witnesses cyberbullying online, what's the most effective way for them to intervene without escalating the situation? Now, we have to be very careful also, right? In as much as we are advocating to have a safe digital space, let me use a typical example. The Twitter space is a very, very toxic area, right? You do not want to be in conversation that do not concern you as a person, right? It's a very, very toxic area. So if it's something between people that are way outside of your caliber, or way outside of your group, the group is the word, not caliber, that are way outside of your group, right? You may just want to, stay back and watch how it plays out, right? But we need to educate. They say charity begins at home. So we need to look out inwardly, educate people around us, right? We need to educate people around us. If you see it, if it's happening around you, then you need to speak up about it. Look at you can review this slide because we're sharing this slide also. Stay calm. That's the first thing. Stay calm. Take notes of the things that is happening. If it is not you, if it is someone else, you can call that person, right? Call that person. I also mentioned that sometimes people are bullying others subconsciously. They do not know. They don't know that what they are doing is cyberbullying, right? So you may not want to escalate that situation. You may want to call the party that is being bullied. How do you know that you are being bullied? The person may not even know. So, and then that person can call the other person to order, and then they can have the conversation, and some of these things can go off, right? But if it is repetitive and it keeps going on, then let us save those information, and then in saving the information, escalate to the relevant authorities. Or maybe if it's a church group, you can escalate to the authorities in the church. If it's a school, escalate to the authorities in the school, and then until it gets to the law enforcement if it is not managed at those level, right? I hope that answers your question. And then how can we encourage the culture of digital empathy and accountability to counteract the toxic behaviors often seen online? The truth is, these things are here to stay, right? What we are doing now is part of encouragement. Let there be awareness, right? The awareness should not stop here. The conversation should not stop here. The conversation should go beyond what we are doing here. We can also go to our churches, talk about this, share these slides to parents, share it in school groups, right? Let them have access to this thing. This is how we can encourage a culture of digital empathy and accountability. But we cannot stop this thing. That is just the truth. We cannot stop it. It will continue to happen, but we can make a difference. And what we are doing is part of making a difference. Before I answer God's gift question, let me see. We have Emmanuel's and Emmanuel, can you unmute? Let me see if. Okay, Emmanuel, try to unmute now.
Can you confirm you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I want to appreciate you for a very wonderful presentation. It's swift, it's nice and it's educative, but I also have a concern. I'm speaking from the journalistic point of view. I'm a journalist, so we see all of this all of the time, but my worries are with implementing and enforcing all of these laws. Of course, Nigeria has taken a right step in establishing this legal framework. But
Mhm.
the thing is, are they really enforcing this thing? Because we are in a country where we just establish a legal framework and implementing and enforcing all of these laws are a big okay. Like let me take for instance the VAP law. The VAP law is the Violence Against Persons Prohibition, where if you rape someone, you should be prosecuted. But we've had cases, clear cases with evidence where somebody was raped, but because the person involved is of high profile, and that was how that case was swept under the carpet. So these are the things we see on an every day we wake up to see stories. Like even if we publish and we do all what we do, we intervene, it just it just gets to the gutters. So that is where my worries are. Of course, there are laws like this to guide the boy child, but do we have success stories of people that have reported cases like this and they've been prosecuted? I mean, specifically for the boy child, do we have success stories like that? Do we have cases where we could make references to that? Okay, so and so thing happened and it was reported and the guy was justified and so on and so forth. So my concern is about enforcing the legal framework. So just I don't know if you have anything to say about that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Emmanuel. Right. Before we have Basi speak, right? Emmanuel, your concern is my concern. Your concern is my concern, and I can tell you for free also that your concern is every Nigerian's concern, right? Not all bullying case we get to the authority. Like I mentioned, some cases we even end in the school because they will be closed off. When I say closed off, I mean they will be managed in schools. We've seen cases where bullying are managed in schools, right? I've seen in my own college, right, back then in school, where cases of bullying were managed effectively and good, right? But we know where we are, right? And I can tell you that this is not just happening in Nigeria. So don't let we do not want people to narrate us as country that has the laws, but we are not we have all the regulations, but we are not putting these things in place. It happens everywhere. But most times we do not hear some of those things outside there. But it happens everywhere. That's just the case. So these things will keep happening, just like I mentioned earlier. But then we are still going to continue to advocate for it. We are getting to a stage where each of these regulations, these requirements will be implemented. I was in a conference a few days ago, and then I was in a conversation with someone that had a close call with people that are implementing the new Cybersecurity Act. And I can tell you that these people, they have the minds to implement each of these things that have been stated and documented within the Act. Right. So, in as much as we know where we are coming from as a country, but are we going to give up? No, that's the truth. We've seen cases where cases with clear evidence were reported, and then they'll tell you there's nothing to do about it. We've seen cases where they will even tell you that this information that you have that you want to come and present in the court of law, due to chain of custody, it has gone from the hand of person A to person B to person D to person this to person that, and they tell you that because of that, it is nullified. So we've seen cases like that. However, are we going to continue to advocate? Yes. Are we going to stop talking about it? No, right? Because we also believe that we are going to get to a point where you and I, we get to the position to ensure that these things are effectively implemented and they should go how they are supposed to go. Emmanuel, I hope that answers your question. I have some hands, right? The hands have gone down. If you have a question, okay, Basi, you go next.
Okay, good evening, all. What I wanted to find out is because we have, like Emmanuel said, we have a lot of cases that we don't actually get the result we deserve to get. Mine is, can we actually maybe, is there any platform, or is there any hotline that if people have this kind of cases, they can actually reach out to, go to those platforms, go to a particular place and drop the details and the problems they have and try to see if there would be any kind of result or repercussion towards it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Basi. Let's have Madeline. Let me have your question so that I can answer. Uh,
Sorry, good evening. This place is noisy. I dropped my question on the chat. Can you please check?
okay. Let me check. Should social media companies do more to prevent cyberbullying? If yes, what? Okay. Fola Jomi. Okay, let me add Fola Jomi's own to it, and then I think we'll just close. And then I'll add Gift's own. I'll answer everything together, and then we close from there. So Fola Jomi, please, your question.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Fola Jomi here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Basically, this isn't a question. This is just to add to what everyone is saying from the perspective of somebody that have been working on a project on cyberbullying, teenagers to be precise. So I've seen cases of students who have been bullied, and we've managed some of these cases, and it can go from a 0 to 100. It's just painful that for cyberbullying, you can't really see, like, you can't really see physically what's happening. As
Mm.
regards to physical bullying, you can see, you might be able to correct or reprimand the bully. So, and I think somebody was talking about, my network kind of broke, so I didn't get it, but I know somebody was talking about how are we going to, the system isn't doing so much to help cyberbullying. Actually, the system is doing so much. It's just for us to know the right authorities to go to. I understand that the police system or the system in general is rigged, but in cases like this, like the project I worked on, one of the best ways is to first equip these children with the
Mm.
right tools so that they know what to do, they know how to manage situations like this. One of the questions I often get from some of these children are, okay, why do one of the students just asked me randomly one time for emphasis, I worked with about 20 schools, so for a period of 4 months. So one of the students was asking me, why, Miss Fola, why do people just do these things? Like, what are people mean? I'm like, that this is how the world works. So in as much as we want to try to protect our children, our boys, our girls from things like this, we need to also equip them with this knowledge that the world works like this. So you cannot really, you cannot control how other people, you can't control their actions, but you can control how you manage these things. So those are the kind of things we do. Also, another thing is making, I think, change starts from each and every one of us. So making it a safe environment for a child to come to you and say, this is what is wrong with me. We conducted a survey. Okay, who is the person that you are going to go to if something like this happens to you? Trust me, they are not going to their parents. Trust me, they are not going to their teachers, because these parents are going to overreact. Parents don't even know, they don't even understand these things. And I'm telling you, 10 year olds are on TikTok, even younger. Like, this is real life survey. So it can get dirty. Like, if you think of the worst case scenario, yes, I've had those stories. So it's really crazy. Usually NGOs help a lot. We have a couple of organizations that we worked with on this project so that they can help us if we had any cases that we feel like we need to escalate or de-escalate, would, call on to them. So that helps. But for the government, well, it is well.
Thank you very much for Lajomi. That's a very great contribution. So what we can do, right, guys, what we can do is what we are doing currently. Let's first equip ourselves, right? And then let's ensure that we try to safeguard our boys, our own kids, our children first from this thing. And then they are also able to influence others, right? They're able to influence others. They're able to, educate others on these subjects, right? Basi mentioned what platforms. The police is part of it, right? You can reach out to them. They can also direct you to relevant authorities that can manage each of the situation, right? And then Magdalene asked if should social media companies do more to prevent cyberbullying? If yes, what? Yes, social media companies are doing well in managing cyberbullying, but also Glory, you may need to drop your question. I don't know, maybe we'll take this conversation elsewhere. After these two questions, I will move on to, I'll give the call to ID, right? So why I said the social media companies are doing well, right? But they still need to do more. There are things that they can do. I cannot really say, but there are things that they can implement. However, do you know that they also have frameworks that they belong to, right? They also have their own framework. They cannot go against people's rights, people's privacy. Do you understand? So in as much as they can put controls in place, they are also careful not to mismanage the controls that they have in place so that they will not violate people's rights and then they will not be fined as an organization. So there are controls, more controls that they are also going to implement to prevent cyber bullying. And then God's gift mentioned, does the awareness of cyberbullying have any limits? No, especially in this modern day. No, we can go and talk about this on and ensure that everyone understand what cyberbullying is all about. So the charge here is to, tell us to go back, educate our boys, educate our parents, educate the schools, you know, educate. Folaji may also mentioned we have an app called the Cyber Hygiene app. Some Play Store, it's free. Parents, teachers, and students have access to it. That's a lot of this information. So let's get equipped, get more information, right, about this subject, right? So thank you everyone for having me dish out this awareness to you. I'll give the floor to ID.
Okay, so I'm still trying to recover from this wealth of knowledge that was dropped here. I want to say a very big thank you to our guests. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing valuable insights on cybersecurity. Like, I thought I was enlightened until I heard you talk about it. Thank you so much. Your insights truly empowered us to think from different angles, empowered us to understand how it works up there. Thank you so much. So as we wrap up this session, I would like to highlight that No Shave November is very dear to us. It's a campaign throughout the month of November, and we are pushing it as a brand, and we're pushing it worldwide, and would love you to join. So if you would like to join the community on WhatsApp, please just indicate, so that, or just send me a DM or send me a message or reply, send me an email, so that I'll add you up to the community. This meeting is only for 1 hour, so by 9 p.m. the meeting will go off, I guess. Yes. So we're building a community of people, and if you love to join, please just indicate. So thank you once again for being a part of today's session, and don't forget to stay connected, because we're going to have more exciting events, more exciting campaigns, more exciting things that are coming up. And have a fantastic day ahead. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy your night.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.